Okay, now that we have covered counting the number of elements by tag name, the next thing that we're going to get into is entering and inputting data into web form fields. So I'm going to show you various methods on how to do that, because every website, of course, is going to be designed differently. Text boxes will all be different. They may be part of a form post. They just may be a text box on the page. So I'm going to show you various methods. That way, if one method doesn't work, you can try the other one out. So you don't have to be an expert in HTML or web development. Rather, if one fails, just go on and try the other one. So let's go ahead and get started. What we're going to try to do is use the same web page that we've been working with, but I'm going to try to enter in data into this box right here, and then later on click the button. The button clicking will be on the next video if you want to proceed already. For right now, this video, I'm going to show you how to put data into this box. So I'm using Google Chrome. With Chrome, I can right click it and hit inspect element. And already I can see this is input type is text, and then the name of it is what I want to look for here, is called search string. So it doesn't have an ID, but it has a name. I'm going to toggle back to my application, double click my enter data command button where I have some code already, and I'm using the same code that we have used already, where we create the object, the Internet Explorer application, we navigate to the page, and then here's the code for where we wait for the page to load. And then here's method 1. Method 1 is using object.ie.document and then get element by ID. And then even though this specific element didn't have an ID, I put the name where the ID would go. Dot value is equal to, and then whatever value it is that you want to set to the box. However, as I mentioned, there is no ID in here. Like, instead, we only have name is equal to search string. It's not ID is equal to search string. So this will not work. If you can, you could change this to get element by name and then type in search string dot value is equal to search test. However, I've already tested on this page. This method does not work. Method 2 is really the same thing. I just wanted to show it because in case you want to set different attributes of an element, you can do so with this specific line. This line's a little bit different. With this one, without the call statement, you won't get any kind of errors. With this one, you will need to add the call option, because if I take that off, go to the next line, you're going to get that error expected. So you need to either do x is equal to, like a variable name, or call. It doesn't return any kind of value, but it's just a requirement. Get element by ID or get element by name, the value, the name of the element or the ID, dot set attribute, and this is the part that I'm referring to. You can do an open parentheses, and you can, in this case, we're going to try to set the value and then the value that we're trying to set it to. That's method 2, but again, these two lines are almost the same. I just wanted to show this in case you wanted to set any other different attribute. And then none of these methods work though. The method that does work for this text box is method 3. Method 3 or method 4. These are the two methods that are going to be the most important for a form post kind of text box, which is what we're working with on this site. This site is a form, and it's form name search, and then method post. On submit, this is calling a JavaScript function, the validate function. So method 3 though, let me explain to you what method 3 does. Method 3 uses the function that we used in the previous video, or the one that we created, get count by tag name. So all this is doing is going for reps, doing a for statement. For rep is equal to 0 to get count by tag name minus 1. Because the index of all the elements start off with 0, and then it goes all the way up. If this is going to get the count minus 1, we have to subtract 1 from it since we're starting from 0. Depending on the number that's actually on your website. So if there was 6 forms on the website, we wouldn't want to go 0 to 6 because we're starting at 0. We'd want to go from 0 to 5. So that's what this does. Gets the count minus 1. In this case, on this web page, there are a total of 6 forms. So this is going to go for rep is equal to 0 to 5. And so what we do is we do set form is equal to object.ie.document get element by tag name form dot item, and this is where we put the index, the rep. So whatever rep number we're on, that's the value that's going to be right here. So all this is going to do, all this code right here is going to look through all of the forms, and it's going to wait and look to see if the form dot name is equal to search. And as I mentioned right now, the name of this form, this entire form with the box in it, the form name is search. We can see that right here on this line. And then the next thing that I do is if the form name is search, then we do frm form dot search string dot value is equal to, and then the value that we want to put inside that text box. And I'll play this code for you right now, but you're probably wondering, where did the name search string come from? And remember, when we first right-clicked it and did inspect element, the name right here was listed as search string. So let's try this code out, make sure it works. I have an exit sub right here where it's going to stop executing. If I hit F5 and do enter data, and we'll see that that value is placed inside the text box. I'm going to close that out and just show you also method 4. I'm going to leave this code here. I'm not going to blank it out or anything, because in the next method I'm going to change it to a different value. Method 4 is going to do kind of the same thing as method 3, but instead of looking at the forms, we're going to look at all input boxes inside the web page, the entire page, not just that specific form. So the first thing that we want to do is do set, and then this variable name can be whatever you'd like, but I mean, I would recommend copying what I have on the screen. Set the input elements is equal to, and then we're going to do object.ie.document get elements by tag name input. All we're specifying here is that we want to look at all of the input elements. So this variable is collecting all of the input objects that we have on the web page. Once we have it all together, we're going to create a for loop to go through all of those input elements. So we have for each, and then input elements in the input elements. So here, this is a variable that you create that you're going to use actually inside the for loop, and then you're going to close it off. So for each input element, and then next input element. And then we're looking for each input element again inside the input elements, the variable that we created up here. So now keep in mind with this string, this is going to be our variable that we're going to be looking at. So now it's going to be if input element dot get attribute and then name. We're looking for the name. If we were looking for the ID, then we would just change name to ID instead. But what we're going to do is look for the name. If input element dot get attribute name is equal to search string, and then we just specified a little while ago that this box, the name of the box is called, the name of it is search string. So if this condition is met, then input element dot value is equal to product test. And then you want to exit the for loop, and this is just the end of your end if, this entire condition right here. And I do have this code right here, input element dot click. That's if you want to click the element. We're not going to use that in this video. So let me hit F5, and we should see product test entered into the text box. Let me hit F5 and try this out. Enter data, and we see it go to product test. So these are 4 methods on how you can enter data into a text box onto a web form. If one doesn't work, I mean, try out the other. The ones that you will have the most success with is going to be method 3 and method 4. Now the next video I'm going to show how you can use this same method to click a button, and I'm also going to show you how to use a different method to click a button inside the web page.